Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm McProbst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
If you're watching Facebook Live or YouTube Live, there on the screen is VP Dirk Smith of EEM, Eastern European Mission. Dirk, first of all, how are you?
Doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing well.
Yeah, we appreciate
It's a Monday, but we're doing well, That's one of those things.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about EEM. For a little over 60 years now, EEM has been ministering to people in Eastern Europe, and you guys, from what I read, launched back in March, help for Ukrainian refugees in Eastern Europe. We appreciate you guys doing that. What a huge undertaking, right?
Yeah, it was not something that we typically would do. I mean, as you saw on our website, for 60 plus years, I mean, we publish, print, and distribute Bibles and Bible-based materials in 32 different countries and 23 different languages, all free to people. But having been there so long, so many of our trusted partners on the ground, when this war broke out and as the refugees were just pouring out of Ukraine and flooding into Poland and Romania and Hungary and Slovakia and Moldova, they reached out to us and just said, man, please engage. We got to have you guys engage. And so the nice thing is they're deep, deep relationships. So we decided, okay, we're going to set up a restricted fund. And again, not that there's anything wrong with what other people are doing. If you provide humanitarian aid, you got to pay salaries, you got to pay overhead. But we just decided, since that's not what we do, we just set up a restricted fund, and it's a pass-through account. So people are giving, and if they give $100, $100 goes out the door. And it's going to indigenous people on the ground who are providing care in Poland and Romania, Hungary, Moldova, all those surrounding countries. And there's just some amazing stories, guys. It's crazy what we're seeing God do through people. The people of Poland just absolutely astound me. Opening up their homes and just taking refugees in. It's been amazing.
Well, that was my next question: is what kind of stories are you hearing from on the ground, from folks who have been in the Ukraine or been in Ukraine and been able to get out, and from folks who are helping them out?
Yeah, man, I don't know how long this radio show is. Man, they're just incredible. One of my favorite recently is one of our partners on the ground in Western Ukraine is providing aid for people getting out of the East. And they get to a certain point and they put the message out there, hey, we're here. If you need clothing, you need food, you need a place to stay, whatever. And they get a phone call from a guy. He introduces himself, and they could tell, they ask just as process, well, is anybody else traveling with you? What's your age? And he said, no, traveling alone. I'm 70. And they said, okay, what do you need? And he said, I need shoes. That's all he said. I need shoes. And they said, okay, well, come on. I mean, we've got shoes, and we're part of the financing of that and providing the shoes and clothing and food. And so he hangs up and finds out where their address is, and he hangs up. And so they wait and they wait and they wait. He's not showing up. So they call the number back that called. Another person answers the phone, and they said, well, I'm looking for so-and-so. And they said, oh, well, he left a while ago. This is not his phone. He doesn't have a phone. They said, oh, well, he's supposed to be coming to us for shoes. And they said, oh yeah, he's on his way. Well, how's he getting here? He's walking. And just let that settle for a second. The guy needs shoes. It's freezing cold in Ukraine. He shows up 3.5 hours later in slippers that somebody has provided him.
Wow.
And they greet him. They give him shoes, his size, brand new pair of shoes. They give him clothes, got him a place to live. And then he says, man, I know that our God is hope. And I know he is providing for us. But in my hurry to leave, and he was from Bucha, he had left when all that destruction took place and he escaped that somehow. He said, I left without my Bible. And he said, I sure would like to read the hope, the words of promise from our God, if you could get me a Bible.
Wow.
Which we had provided them Bibles as well. And man, I tell you, I don't know why that one, of all this, that just broke my heart. And his wife died a year ago, and his son died in the war, so he's all alone. I mean, he's all by himself.
That's
My
amazing.
gracious.
So here's a man who needed a pair of shoes, and that tells you the extent of his neediness. If he didn't have any shoes, and he walked to go get them, and yet the only other thing he really wants is a Bible.
And man, Dan, that's the story we're hearing. So oftentimes, even before they ask for humanitarian aid, but definitely right after they get humanitarian aid, they're asking for Bibles. Our request for Bibles in Ukrainian has skyrocketed. I mean, it's our first quarter. We ended up with a record distribution quarter, which we kind of anticipated to some degree, but not to the magnitude. It was up 35% from this time last year. But sometimes even before they get humanitarian aid, they're asking for a Bible in their language. And I know there's a number of reasons for this. One is they're a believer and they've taken this harrowing journey from east to west, packed like sardines on a train or in whatever they're in, and it's taking sometimes 8 to 10 times longer to get there. So they've got a long time with people who they don't know, and they're sharing Jesus. I mean, they're sharing the gospel with people. And so it's a believer giving their Bible to somebody, or B, it's a non-believer who's been traveling with a believer. And dare I say, they're looking at the believer and saying, okay, they're going through the same hell I'm going through.
Yeah.
But they're handling this a whole lot better than I am. Dare I say, with a peace that passes understanding.
No.
And they get to the border and they say, can I get a Bible? I need to know about Jesus. I want hope. I mean, because this isn't it. I mean, this isn't working. If this is what I'm standing down on and this is all there is, then boy, I'm tapping out. I don't want this. So it's amazing, and we're seeing it all. I mean, every border it's happening, and of course they don't. Polish people they don't have Bibles in Ukrainian. I mean, we got requests from the Ukrainian Bible Society. I mean, let that sink. When Bible societies are reaching out to us and saying, "Hey, give us Bibles," they're thinking, "Okay, that's interesting." I mean, and they're our partners. We partner with them because, and again, Bible societies, in their defense, I mean, they do the translation work, but they don't publish, print, and distribute. I mean, they're selling their Bibles, and we don't. We give them away because we're giving them for evangelistic work. I mean, that's our only requirement with our Bible work that we do, our Bible distribution. We just require that they're not going on a shelf, they're not going in a drawer. They are going into somebody's hand who is a seeker.
Yeah.
Wow. Dirk Smith, the VP of Eastern European Mission, or EEM, and we're talking about the work there with Ukrainian refugees. They deliver not only the Bibles, which is awesome, but medical care, food, clothing, shelter, whatever is needed for those that are fleeing. That is quite a story. And you mentioned about, I mean, if we watch the news and we see the stories and of the Polish folks bringing people in, strangers in to stay with them, not just one family. I saw a story where I think they had enough room for 3, and so they brought 3 different families in, which I thought was awesome. Then I think, would I do that?
Isn't that right, Rick? That's it, man. That's the question. I mean, that's what's been haunting me through this whole thing. I look at what's happening and I think, how would we do that here in America?
Yeah.
Would we do that? I mean, we've got people crossing borders, and we had this Middle East refugee crisis going on where they were coming in, and I didn't see a lot of us stepping up and saying, "Hey, I got 3 rooms. I'll take 3." Where was that messaging from those of us who claim to be authentic disciples of Jesus? It is encouraging. And at the same time, for me personally, I won't speak for anybody else listening or you two guys, but it's self-indicting for me. And it's astounding, but we're seeing it everywhere. Now Poland in just record numbers, but the total number of refugees is it's 5 million plus at this point in time,
and growing every day.
Every day, unfortunately, yeah.
EEM.org is the website you can go to find out more information. How can folks help you guys, Dirk? What can they do to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, two things. Obviously, our news cycle, and we all know this. I mean, we're a bit ADD. They train us to be ADD. You know, it's in the news, and then well, that's not sexy anymore. Let's go on to something else. We need something.
Mm-hmm.
This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is not going away. This is unlike anything we've seen. This is World War II kind of stuff. I mean, you look at cities like Kherson and Irpin and Bucha and Mariupol. I mean, all these cities are just destroyed. It's going to be 30 years of rebuilding once this war actually ends. So first thing is, we're in this for the long haul. So people can give on our website, eem.org. Up at the top right hand side, they'll see a red banner that says Ukraine Aid. And again, that's just a pass-through account. It's restricted. They give to that. It's going out the door in some of this help that we're talking about: medical, housing, food, etc. And then the other thing is, as I mentioned, the request for Bibles. We're in the midst of a campaign that we call Bibles for Kids, which our goal is to raise enough money to provide 800,000 children's Bibles in 19 different languages. Many of these children's Bibles are going to children now, refugee children crossing the borders in all of these countries. So people can give to that. That's actually a matching fund. We've had some donors step up. And so typically $5 would buy 2 children's Bibles, but now $5, because it's being matched, is going to provide 4. So
awesome.
Give up a cup of coffee and provide 4 Bibles, change 4 lives, well, more than 4, because parents are reading to their kids and they're reading stories they've never read before. Grandparents are reading. So we have seen our children's Bible really be a great tool for the Spirit to use in people's hearts.
That's Love great. That. Dirk Smith, the EM, he's the VP there, and EEM.org is a great place to go to. Dirk, we'd love to catch up with you in August. I'd love to hear the war is over. And of course, I know when it's over, there's still more work to be done. It's not over. That's just the beginning. Yeah. So let's catch up if you'd like to. Let's do that in the summer, and we'll see where you guys are and how we can help. Again, it's EEM.org. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.